Well, howdy. Welcome to Cryptid Caravans. We're hauling in new monsters all the time. I accidentally tripped over a trailer hitch and I seem to somehow ended up in Vietnam circa 1968. Well, if I'm going to be here, might as well play along. So let's take a look at the Vietnamese rock apes, also known as the Batutu, the Tek Tek, the Ujit, or the Nordvring. It's Vietnamese for forest people. And while you do that, I'm going to take the fight to Charlie. The rock apes are said to inhabit the wild areas of Vietnam and Laos, with a large concentration at the Vu Quang Nature Reserve, about a 50-minute flight south of Hanoi. They appear as 3 to 7 foot tall, hairy humans with bare orangish skin on its hands, face, feet, and knees. Their hair can be a variety of colors, ranging from brown and black to gray for the more seasoned rock apes. I guess they don't make a just for rock apes. The diet of these creatures seems to consist mostly of fruit and small game, but sometimes they feast on humans, and they are said to bark like a dog. American GIs gave them the nickname rock ape for their penchant to throw rocks at them. In 1835, 2 local hunters were approached by 2 rock apes at their campfire. In a fearful state, the hunters used their fire to set the rock apes ablaze. Scorched earth before we brought the napalm over. The first mention of the rock apes by a Westerner comes from a French colonist in 1947, who promptly surrendered to it. He referred to it in his journal as a wild man. There wouldn't be any more sightings until the outbreak of the Vietnam War. The story that's seen the most circulation deals with a unit of the 101st Airborne that was trekking through the jungles when they stopped to take a rest. As they caught their breath, they noticed the trees up the hill starting to shake vigorously. They noticed a large ape creature step out of the brush. It just stood there and looked over the 6-man group. The soldiers figured they were looking at an orangutan until one of them pointed out that they weren't native to Vietnam. Well, the other 5 called him a nerd, and then they just started arguing amongst themselves till the rock ape got bored and just wandered off. Another tale involves 2 men on night watch at an outpost near Dong Den, referred to as the Rock Pile, known rock ape territory. They were hearing something near the barbed wire fence. One of them, referred to as Poncho, went up the path to investigate. He noticed a bush that shouldn't have been there. He leaned over and poked it with his rifle. Turns out a stoner and his Great Dane were hiding in it. Actually, it snorted back at him. The spooked Poncho fired off a round at the bush and hurried back to his partner. But this won't be the most harrowing account to come out of the rock pile. A recon post was allegedly surrounded by 100 rock apes one night. With orders not to fire and risk giving away their position, the Marines engaged in close quarters. They are trained in combat, hand-to-hand. The captain's radio was flooded with the sounds of shouts from the Marines and rock apes. The Marine captain sent a squad to investigate. What they found were plenty of wounded men and a few bodies of the rock apes, which I guess no one decided to take document of. In another report, 2 squads had stopped for lunch 9 miles south of Hue. As they enjoyed their meal, 8 rock apes come up the trail. Well, with their brown fur, the GIs thought they were NVA soldiers and immediately opened fire on them. From M16s and M60s to hand grenades, they threw everything at them, especially when they realized they weren't NVA troops. The rock apes hopped through the trees, making them hard targets to hit. After several minutes of sustained fire, the apes retreated. They searched the area later, but it turns out they didn't even kill one of them. Oh, consarn it. Well, I figure a way out of this one. Let's look at one more report from a group of Marines. Quang Nam's Hill 868 was nicknamed Monkey Mountain. One night, Steve Canyon and his unit were testing rifle noise suppressors. As they were testing them, a rock ape was watching them from the tree line. It barked at them, and a Marine hit it with a rock to scare it off. Giving them damn dirty rock apes a taste of their own medicine. Well, the creature threw a rock of his own in return. Then 19 of his 8 friends showed up and joined in pelting the Marines with rocks. The Marines retreated back up the hill. Marines don't retreat, they just tactically withdrew. But not to be left out of the fun during the war, the NVA had their own experiences with rock apes. NVA General Hoang Minh Thao sent an expedition of Vietnamese academics into the jungles of North Kontum in '74. He had hoped to find proof of the wild men, but the research party came back only with a few elephants for the circus. Seems our boys spent as much time fighting rock apes as they did fighting Charlie. So what theories do we have to explain all this? Well, there could be a reason most of these accounts come from American GIs, but are much more rare among the Vietnamese natives. It could be that the native tales just haven't reached our western shores. Or you gotta remember, us good old boys ain't used to seeing monkeys in our backwoods. Worst we gotta deal with is possums and coons. What we consider cryptic rock apes could just be a regular monkey, a snub-nosed monkey to be exact. They can bark like a rock ape, and they have no fear of humans when it comes to defending their territories. Well, they're well under the 3-foot mark, and they don't walk on 2 legs. Gibbons are also pointed out as possible rock apes. They do match the fur coloration of the cryptids, and could account for the shorter rock apes encountered. Or as suggested by the soldier, it fits the description of an orangutan, though they aren't found in Vietnam. And it is well known that the Vietnam War took place during the 1960s, a time well known for its recreational drug use. American GIs were no exception to this fad, but in most cases, these reports were from men who were out in the field on duty. Not exactly the best time to be blazing one up. But if you want to look into rock ape media of your own, without accidentally traveling through time, there are a few options. There's the book Very Crazy GI that mentions them, and an episode of Josh Gates' Destination Truth was centered around searching for him. And there's even a skin named after the cryptid in the video game Battleborn. There ain't been much said about the rock apes since the end of the war, and their media exposure's been kinda light. But I've given you the history, now you can decide for yourself. Are the rock apes mysterious wild men, a bad trip, or just an especially angry monkey? I'd also like to thank the people at the Facebook Cryptozoology page for their help. I think I hear my ride coming in. Remember, keep your powder dry and your eyes on the target.